Hey everybody, Chef Chad Armstrong here, founder of Home Cook Academy, and welcome to this video lesson on cabbage. You probably think, oh, cabbage, not more coleslaw. Well, that's probably the biggest way we use cabbage in our society, but there's a lot of other ways. You may have had maybe like a boiled dinner with cabbage and corned beef, think about like St. Patrick's Day. You may have had it, stir fried. You may have had it like in Asian cooking. You may have had it, cabbage rolls. The sky's the limit. There is many ways to use cabbage. And what I've got here is just a solid green cabbage. There's other varieties. There's the Napa cabbage. There's Savoy cabbage. There's bok choy. They're all in that same family. But this is probably the most common one, and I like using this one for the application I'm going to do today because the leaves hold up really well to sauteing. So we're actually going to saute this cabbage and make a spicy style cabbage, almost in the same way you would do like kind of like a Korean style cabbage. Maybe you've heard of kimchi, which is a fermented cabbage with like chili paste added to it. Well, this is going to be kind of like a quicker version of kimchi. So I'm actually not going to ferment it, but I am going to saute it and break down the leaves and then add flavor to it. I do want to show you though how to break down a head of cabbage. This is a small to medium head. It's still got a good amount of weight to it. Make sure that you do when you buy these, they feel heavy. They shouldn't feel like they're hollow inside of their light. That means that they've been sitting around for quite a while, and you probably want to not buy that one. So make sure you get one that's got a solid feel to it. With cabbage, they have all these leaves on the outside, and this one has a little bit of, I'll put it on this camera so you can see a little, just discoloration. It's an organic cabbage. That's what happens. That's all fine. You can just cut that off. But it's got a core here, and to get these leaves off here and cut down to the pieces that I want, let's first cut off that little spot, and I'll just compost that. But I want to take and cut the cabbage in half. And cabbage is hard, it's dense, so make sure you get a little force behind it. Cut it in half through the core so you can see the core here. I need to get that core out because I don't want to eat that. That part is really hard. It really won't cook down in the short period of time I'll be cooking this cabbage. So cut through the core again. So really all you're doing is quartering your cabbage. And then once you get your cabbage quartered, if you just take at an angle, you can see here's the core. It runs right through there. I want to cut just on the outside of that just to remove that core. So just at an angle, a 45-degree angle straight down, and then I've got that core out. So let's do it on the other one so you can see it again. So there's the core here, comes down. I'm going to cut just above it and down. So I've got rid of that core. So that just goes into my compost bucket. And then very simply, all I'm going to do is just turn and slice. And I'm going to do probably 1/2-inch slices on this. I want it to hold up. I don't want it to be so shredded to where it's really a fine cabbage. Because I'm going to cook it. Let's go ahead and put that into our bowl here to get it out of the way. And I'll do it this one as well so you can see, just once again, just slicing across the cabbage here. And whenever you're cutting anything, and you may have heard me say this before in videos, when you're going to cook vegetables or whatever it may be, always try and cut them to where they're the same size, the same width, same diameter, same dimensions. That way they all cook evenly. They all cook the same rate. Instead of you having a big piece, it's going to cook, take longer to cook than the smaller pieces. So just a little point there for you. So I do want to go through, now that I've cut that, I'll cut this other head here in just a couple minutes. But I want to show you and go through some of the ingredients that we have for this dish as well. And these are some of my favorite ingredients. I love using, the Asian style ingredients, the ginger, chili paste, sesame oil, soy sauce. I love using these ingredients because they bring really big flavors, bright, that salty, that sour kind of component, a little bit of sweet sometimes to your dishes. So I like that style of food. So I try to use it quite a bit in my cooking. But what I've got here, and this is going to be the spicy part, this is just a simple chili paste that I bought at the store. Whatever your favorite chili paste may be, try and get the kind without obviously MSG added to it, without the heavy preservatives. Go with the all natural, the real products that are into it. So this is just one of my favorite ones, and you can see the chili flakes inside of it. And it's got a nice like vinegary, like spicy, salty, like smell to it. So you know, it's got a good amount of heat, but it's not so much to where it just overwhelms my palate and destroys it, but it brings big flavor. My sesame oil is what I'm actually going to use in the bottom of my saute pan. The sesame oil is just that, it's the oil from sesame seeds. Really great oil to use, hold up really well in cooking. I love the flavor that it also brings as well. And then soy sauce, I use in place of salt in most of my Asian dishes. You might still add a little bit of salt to your food, but the soy sauce has enough salt in it where it should make up for the salt that you don't have to add. And I do like, once again, you know, all natural. Make sure you stay away from the highly processed, the GMO soy sauces, because you know, soybeans are one of the our biggest uses of GMOs. So you know, they've been highly modified quite a bit. So make sure you get an organic soy sauce. Stay away from the GMO soy sauces. And then I'm going to finish this with some scallions that I just sliced up. That's probably a half cup. And then I did want to save this for last. I wanted to show you ginger and just how to peel ginger. And I guess I forgot my spoon. Let me grab a spoon. So ginger is very simple to peel. All you need is a spoon. All you have to do is take that spoon with the side of it and just go down the side of the ginger and take that really thin skin off. You know, it's a root. You don't want to eat this skin. It's really tough and fibrous and bitter, so you don't want to have the skin. But just peel some of the skin back. And I'm not going to use all this ginger, so I'm not going to peel all the way down. I'm just going to peel down to about what I think I need. And then what I'm going to do when I get over to the stove with my pan is I'm actually going to just grate this right into my oil just before I add my cabbage. So I've got a zester, or the brand is Mycoplane, but there are other zesters out there. This is just the one that I happen to use and like. And all you do is just run that ginger along that Mycoplane, and it comes out at the bottom. And I just do that right above my saute pan, and it's ready to go. So really quickly, I can knock this out instead of having to go through and mince this up with my knife. Use my zester. And sometimes if you have like a box grater, it will have the same thing on the side. Just use that above your pan. Just a step to help you save a little time when you get over to your stove. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish cutting up the rest of this cabbage, and then we will go over to the oven and I'll show you how to finish this dish. We'll get it cooked, the cabbage cooked off, and how to incorporate all of these ingredients. So stay tuned, we'll be right back, and I'll show you how to cook our spicy cabbage. See you soon. So here we are over at the stove, and I want to go ahead and get my sesame oil into the pan and start getting that just heated. It's about 2 tablespoons of sesame oil. And then I wanted to show you just how I grate the ginger. So I kind of just started slightly warming up the pan. It's not entirely hot yet. I don't want it to be super hot where my ginger is going to burn. But all I'm going to do, as you can see, is just run that zester, or the ginger over the zester. And what it does sometimes is it wants to stick to the back of the zester. So all I have to do is knock that out, and you see it's starting to fall a little bit now. Because I don't want my ginger to burn. The ginger will burn really easily, but I just want to get the flavor to start to come out a little bit. And what will happen when I get you can see there's ginger on the back of that. When I get my cabbage into it, the moisture will start coming out of the cabbage, and that'll keep the ginger from burning while it's cooking. So that's what you want. So I'm gonna get a little bit in here just to start to get some of the flavor going, because once you add heat to things like ginger or garlic, spices, like especially like dried spices, it really brings out the oils and really enhances the flavor. So I think it's enough ginger there. I'm gonna grab my towel. So you can see it's already getting warm, starting to sizzle just a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead, just to make sure it doesn't burn, I'm gonna go ahead and add my cabbage, but I mean, you can definitely, it smells like sesame and ginger. So let's go and get our cabbage in. And if you can't get all the cabbage in at once, that's fine. I went ahead and used my high-sided pan so I have a little more room. So I think I'll be able to get all this into it. Yeah, we're good there. So if you don't have a high-sided pan and the cabbage gets to where it's wants to be above the pan, just maybe add part of it. It'll cook down and you can add, more. So that's totally fine as well. It'll, cook down. Same thing with like when you're cooking like spinach or kale or greens, you get a lot of them and they cook down to a little bit, to like about a quarter left. So set of tongs, we're gonna let this just cook down for probably 3, 4, maybe 5 minutes, just depending on how long it takes to break this down. I want it to be tender though. I don't want it to be crunchy or too crunchy. I want it to be soft and pliable, but still have a little bit of texture to it. So let's go ahead and let this cook for just a few minutes, and then we'll come back and we'll add the rest of our ingredients. So here we are, we're back. It's been a few minutes. The cabbage is definitely cooked down a little bit more. You can see it looks quite a bit different. It's gotten nice and like a bright green in the outer leaves. The inner leaves are still kind of crisp, but that's okay because the soy sauce and the chili paste are gonna help break that down even more if it sits for a little bit. So this dish, I love making this dish ahead of time. Letting it, everything incorporate and come together and meld together with the soy sauce and the chili paste and the ginger. They really enhance the flavor, and they'll continue to break down those leaves as well. So let's go ahead and add our soy sauce to this. About 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. Our chili paste, and this is probably a couple of tablespoons here as well. If you want it spicier, add more chili paste. If you want it less spicy, add less chili paste. Amazing how that works. We're just gonna give it a little toss. Oh, and as soon as the chili paste and the soy hit the heat, well, the aroma, it makes your mouth water from the chili paste. It makes you like salivate. It's good. We're getting things going. Things are happening there. I mean, you can see it change like instantaneously. So that's pretty much done. I'm gonna go ahead and add my scallions as well. And whenever you're doing something like this, you're not really sure, you can always add less. You can never take out the soy sauce or the chili paste if you don't want it that much in there, but you can always add more. So just always know that you can adjust your seasoning, and any good cook will always taste their food. So, always give it just a little taste. Fantastic. So, the soy sauce flavor comes through. The chili paste is starting to, it opens up your senses, your sinuses there. So that's what I want. So I'm gonna let this cool, and I'm actually gonna serve this as a cold dish. So you can serve it just like this. You can serve it hot. That's totally fine. But I like it cold. I like these flavors to sit for 2-3 hours. I'll put them in the fridge after it cools a little bit and really chill it, and then serve it as almost like a coleslaw, or a kimchi. So same kind of concept. If you're not eating cabbage, or you haven't been a fan of cabbage, you really should be. Cabbage is high in vitamin K, vitamin C. It actually has, I'm pretty sure it has more vitamin C than oranges do. You really should be getting into these things. These vegetables like this, these green vegetables, these big ones, they really are healthy. They really pack a punch for improving your immune system, your health, your overall well-being. So, like I said, if you haven't been a fan of cabbage, I hope you will be after this dish. I hope this helps. The recipe is down below this video. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. You can leave comments as well. I hope you'll subscribe to our channel. If you like this video, feel free to share it. Maybe there's somebody out there that could use some tips on cooking or some help with in their lives in cooking. For more information, also check out our website, chefchadarmstrong.com. I hope to see you again soon. Remember to get out there and cook, because your life is worth cooking. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in our next video. Take care.